right, good morning. Welcome to the first roundtable of the 24-25 school year. We hope that you have had an excellent experience as you start your back to school week. Most of you, I believe, started this week. It was nice to see on my Facebook all the great pictures of friends and family and their little ones and their big ones that are headed back to school. So welcome back to a fun school year. It's already proven to be fun even this week. So with that, I'm going to let Joe Hoffer take over and kind of kick us off with some of that news from the SLHA firm. Joe, are you ready?
Ready, yeah.
Okay.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the 24-25 school year. It'll be over in a flash, I promise. We do have a few updates for everyone to consider. You would have gotten, so there's three things I want to talk about today. One is the current TRO for the A through F lawsuit that has been making the rounds. And then second is dealing with school nurses because there's some issues going around there. And third will be the status of the new charter rules. So focusing first on the A through F litigation, earlier this week, the Court of Appeal, the Travis District Court, Judge Crump issued a temporary restraining order the day before accountability ratings were being issued. So if you haven't gotten your ratings, that's why the TRO was entered and a second lawsuit for the 23-24 accountability ratings. This lawsuit is about the grading of the STAR test, and the allegation is that there was some discrepancies in the grading. And so 5 districts filed suit and got a restraining order against the commissioner from issuing a rating for the last year. So that is going to be set for a hearing on an injunction within the next week and a half or so, and we'll see where it goes. That is separate from the lawsuit the prior year, which was about the accountability rating manual being issued after the deadline. That rating lawsuit is actually up on appeal at the Court of Appeals still, pending a decision from the Court of Appeals. So that's why you're not going to get your rating right now. I know that the state is planning to aggressively fight this new one off, and they feel actually more confident that they'll prevail in it. And so we will see where it goes. But your ratings right now are on hold pending the court deciding what to do on that. Moving on from A through F, you've seen guidance from our firm. We put out an advisory yesterday, I believe, or it may have been Monday, on school nurses. And so the Texas State Board of Nursing, which is the licensing body that regulates school nurses, issued an update, not final guidance yet, but they issued an update and alert saying that nurses who are licensed by the state cannot provide over-the-counter medications to students unless there is a doctor's note and parental permission, and that a school nurse needed to have that in writing from a doctor and from the parents before they could provide over-the-counter medication, including Tylenol, aspirin, ibuprofen, other things, as well as supplements. The issue is that conflicts with the education code. The education code has said that the school district or charter school can, by policy, determine when your school can provide medications to students, including over-the-counter medications. So we've got a conflict between the Texas Education Code, which gives you and your board the autonomy and the authority to set that, versus what the Board of Nursing is doing. Our analysis is that the Board of Nursing has jurisdiction over, not over schools, but the Board of Nursing has jurisdiction over the nurses themselves and their license. And so we're going to recommend you update your policies around when your nurses are issuing medications versus when you may have non-nurses issuing medications. So one of the fixes is that you can have like an unlicensed medical aide, or maybe someone in your front office that's helping the nurse out, but they're not actually a licensed nurse, and they actually can provide over-the-counter medications to students pursuant to your board policy, because they're not licensed, they're not regulated by the Board of Nursing. There's been a lot of pushback on this. We've actually had some of our school systems have had a lot of parent activism over this issue because they think that it's some creeping against parental rights. And so there's a little bit of a schism going on there. and we'll see where it goes. But we are also waiting on the Board of Nursing to issue formal guidance. So you would have gotten a memo alert from us earlier this week. And because some charters are different, some of you have licensed nurses, some have RNs, some have licensed vocational nurses, some don't. We don't have a one size fits all. So let us look at your policies. Let us know how you're actually staffed up. I expect your nurses are going to be, if you have licensed nurses, particularly RNs, they're going to be very excited about this because they've gotten alerts from their licensing body. And frankly, this is their personal, individual, professional license at stake. And so they want to be very careful about that. So reach out if you have specific needs or you need to customize your actual documents, and we'll help you get where you need to go. Questions on nurses? Okay. The next thing I wanted to talk to all about is the Chapter 100 regulations. We've been working for over 2 years now with the TEA on updating the charter school administrative code, the commissioner's rules. We were expecting those to be released mid-June. And everyone, we saw proposed rules earlier in the spring, and we submitted comments to the proposed rules. We're now waiting for the final rule adoption where they've taken all of our comments, they've addressed concerns, and they issue what's going to be final for 30-day final publication before they go into effect. We've been told that they would be mid-June. That got delayed to mid-July, and now it's mid-August. Our lobbying team has told us that the Charter Association and our lobbying team and the Charter Association have told us they're actively working to finalize those, and that Marion Shetty at the TEA expects to be able to issue those within the next week or so. I think it will happen because part of it is they have new rules around high-performing charter networks and replication and expansion and new charter applications for high-performing networks that they may want to come into Texas. And they want that to happen in the next Generation 30 application cycle, which is set to drop in the next month. So if they want those rules to be in effect, they've got to get them issued because there's a final publication and notice to the public before they can go into effect. Couple things on that. Boundaries, they're eliminating charter school boundaries. We know that that's going to stick. We just want to see how they do it. Our questions still are around, well, what about your existing boundaries? Can you keep your boundaries if you want them? Can you establish campus boundaries? How does that impact special ed transportation? If you've got a SPED kid that's applying and lives 100 miles away, how does that work? So I think there may be some situations where boundaries are actually helpful. And we do need boundaries to establish it. McKinney-Vento would be another area where boundaries are helpful. But we're going to see how that kind of shakes out. The 36-month window for a new expansion is still going to be there. We've been told that's going to stick, where you have 36 months after you apply for expansion to open your new campus. That's a great thing because before it was 1 year, then it was 18 months. And of course, that's not realistic. You need more time to establish and open a campus. There are significant changes to the related party laws. So for charters that are maybe dealing with a related nonprofit or a management company, or you've got a foundation, or you've got maybe an entity working on your real estate that is a sister entity to your charter holder entity, lots of changes around the related party stuff that we're going to be eyeing on. Many of you won't have this concern at all. It's not relevant, but where it is relevant, it's going to be a big deal. But as soon as we get the rules published, our firm is going to do a deep dive on them, and then we'll issue more specific guidance. One change I'm hoping, in the proposed rules, they required that TEA approve all cooperative agreements, all shared service arrangements get reviewed by TEA Legal before you can do them. We have suggested that that's not a good idea, and because the prior rule said if a charter school is entering into a cooperative or shared service agreement with another charter school, the TEA wanted to review and approve that. And that happens, but it's not a grand scale. But in the proposed rules, it was any shared service arrangement, any cooperative had to get approved by TEA. Well, probably every agreement you have with Region 11, for example, is a cooperative agreement or a shared services because they use the statutory provisions in Government Code 791 to effectuate that contract. Or if you're entering into a contract with your county or your municipalities, your cities, those are all cooperative agreements. And so, or your college district, you've got a dual credit agreement with your college district. Guess what? That's a cooperative agreement. And so we've suggested to TEA that maybe they really don't want to look at all those. But if that sticks, if that's in the final rules, we're going to put out a survey to our schools. Please send us every cooperative agreement you have, and we're going to have to float them over to TEA. And I think they're going to learn pretty quickly that it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these things. and that every school doesn't just have one or two, but every school system could have dozens of these agreements. And so hopefully, fingers crossed, they revise the final rules around that. So that's it for my updates. We are tracking the Title IX litigation. That's something else that's out there. The federal court suspended the implementation of the new Title IX regulations. So that doesn't mean Title IX's off the hooks. You still have to follow Title IX. You just follow the prior rules that were 2020 timeframe. You don't have to rush into anything around the new rules. Those are suspended while the federal courts work through that. And we are still in litigation with some cities that are still blocking charter schools, despite us getting new law saying they can't block charter schools. Some of the cities still are, and so we're still litigating that issue as well. But we will, if we don't get those things settled, we'll be going to trial in the next 3 months against the city of Dallas. I know this is Region 11, and you guys don't necessarily care what happens in Dallas, but that's a big deal. And so because some of you are operating in Dallas, even though you're a Region 11 school, you have Dallas campuses. So we're working through that, and hopefully we'll have an update for you the next time we talk about, winning or settling and getting some relief from the city encroachment. All right, that's all I have, Jackie.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Looking forward to partnering with you for the rest of the school year and all the roundtables. And I need to get Cindy on your distribution list. So I'll make sure that she makes that request to your office. So I appreciate you.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you so much. And
Can I ask Joe a really quick question about?
Sure, yes.
100? Okay, so
Sorry, Lisa.
No, our PEMS coordinators understand that the boundaries are going away, but they're having a lot of anxiety because it's not in effect yet. But we opened school and accepted some students who are not in our current boundaries, and they don't want this to be a issue. So I need you to tell me it's not going to be an issue.
Hypothetically, a school that may or may not have admitted kids out of the boundaries, I think that it could be an issue right now, but it may be an issue that resolves itself in a few weeks.
We are not friends anymore. I just want to go on record.
Yeah, I still love you, Lisa, but it's okay.
That was the best.
I don't have a good answer for that right now because of the rule delay. They wanted this to be in effect in June so that it wouldn't be an issue. I don't think they'll make it an issue because of that, but I technically can't tell you that because I don't, because the rule has not been adopted yet.
And that came up yesterday in the Charter Network group. So
I think to be conservative, we could get something from the TEA to see what they want us to do on that. It could be that those students need to be coded as ineligible for funding until the boundary change. I mean, the conservative answer is they're in, but they're not eligible for funding yet.
Okay.
But if you want, I'm happy to.
It's not a big number of them, and some of them are under McKinney-Vento because of the shelter we're serving.
Well, if they're under McKinney-Vento, they don't have they're fine, right? Because they don't have a boundary, so you're okay there. I would probably go back to them and look and see if you've got grandparent residency, McKinney-Vento residency, or they got another way to qualify of having residency, which is a loose term, right? There may be some things you can look at to resolve that issue.
Okay.
So
Thanks.
in that situation, would there be a grandfathering just in order to have least disruption for those kids?
Well, I think that the agency would probably say, and we'd have to get this from them, but I can hear them in my mind saying, don't disrupt the kids' education. And that's why conservatively, they may not be eligible for funding until the boundary issue is resolved. But the wrong answer is say, hey, now you can't come here. That's probably the wrong answer. Because I know the agency is always about kids first, and that would be my guess as to where they'd fall. Especially as in the next weeks or months, the boundaries are going away.
great. Any other questions? I should have done that first. Perfect. Okay. Well, thanks again, Joe. Have a great day. A very uneventful day, I hope.
Hope so. Thank you all. Take care.
Yes. All right. Take care. Okay. Next up on our agenda is Laurel Garcia from the Texas Public Charter School Association. And I know Laura, I shared, you made you co-host, so you were able to pull up your slides. There you go.
Good.
And Laurel and I have partnered together over the years, and she's always brought some really great information, including the upcoming conference that we're excited about. So, Laurel, take it away.
Yes, thanks for having me, Jackie. And it looks like I know most everyone in this room, so there's parts that I can go over pretty quickly.
Laurel,
But
I'll tell you, a lot are registered but not participating, so you might want to just review. Thank you.
got it.
Because I'm
So
going to
for
send the
all of you,
recording out.
for all of you watching the recording later, my name is Laurel Garcia, and I'm the Senior Director of Continuing Education at the Texas Public Charter School Association. It's a mouthful. For any of you out there who maybe are not members of the association, you're wondering what is even included, whether you're members or not, we have it all outlined on our website. So I always have this slide in here so that you can go and check this out. And then if you have any questions about what membership looks like, you can reach out to our VP of Member Engagement, Nadia Luna, and I have her email address there. So we do a few trainings over at the association that are pretty charter focused. And so I've linked in our training portal here. We don't have a lot of webinars coming up right now because our conference is kind of our main focus in October. But I do have this one in September. I have a couple other coming up in September, and I just need the speakers to get a few more details to me before I can publish them. But if you're interested in hearing anything about harnessing AI in the classroom, we have that coming up. And then I'll also be posting information soon about a math tutoring webinar, facilities funding from our TPCSA group. And then I have a new child abuse prevention webinar coming up that I know all staff need to take. So that new webinar should be coming out in the next month. So if you ever have any questions about our webinars, we usually try to hold them live and then post the recording on our training site. Sometimes we go straight to recording, but yeah, if you have any questions about that, we're also tracking the rule rewrite. And so what I've been told from TEA is that the way the rules are proposed right now is I'll be adding quizzes to all of my on-demand training. So that way there's a way to assess the learning in a situation where it's not a live webinar. So we are tracking that. We are prepared to implement that. And so our training portal shouldn't be going away anytime soon. And then our conference, this is what's taking up most of my brain space right now. So our conference is a month later than it normally is. We typically try to aim for September, but this year it's actually October 21st through the 23rd. We normally have a Sunday night reception the night before, so I realized I need to also start adding that, even though we don't officially say that. It's more like a pre-conference event than part of the actual conference. We're back at the JW Marriott in San Antonio. It's a lovely resort hotel. If you've never been out there, it has a water park and everything, excellent restaurants. It's beautiful, and golf courses. So lots to offer at this property. And if you've never been to one of our conferences, we typically have some board workshops. The very final day, October 23rd, we reserve just for the Texas Education Agency. And so all of their sessions and updates will be on that last half day. We also have the commissioner come, and so he'll be our closing general session on that Wednesday. And most importantly, we have a lot of spotlight sessions from Joe's team at Schulman Lopez Hopper Adelstein. So they usually come. If things get wrapped up with Title IX, I know they're going to be presenting about that at our conference. So fingers crossed that everything with Title IX gets resolved so that they can have some updates there in October. So I have put in my slideshow links to not only our conference site, but how you can go register if you're not already registered. And with that, I'm going to take a breath and a beat and just see if anyone has any questions about the conference or webinars.
I'm super excited that it's back in San Antonio. I think I've voice that over and over. It's awesome. And I actually like it being later. So
I've
helps
heard
us.
that from some people. They're
Yeah,
like,
it
no,
helps.
October's better, so we need to look at that. I
Yeah.
know 2025, our conference will be in Houston. 2026 will be back in Dallas, so we'll be a little closer. And then in 2027, we'll be back in the Austin area. So we try to rotate through the
Sure.
metros to give everyone a chance to have a conference close to them or time where they can go travel and be away.
Right.
There or.
I know you mentioned the meet and greet on Friday or and I don't think we did it last year, but the year before we did like regional kind of meet and greet during like a breakfast maybe. I didn't know if that was back on the agenda or something similar.
We had toyed with the idea of making a breakfast if the commissioner didn't confirm that he could speak, but then he did confirm.
Okay.
But I am still, there is still some things that I could move around in the schedule. So yeah, let me look at that and see if there's any way we could get something done for regions to kind of host something. Let me take a look at that.
Okay, I was just curious if it was back or, you know, how that was going to be structured. It's nice to network with our region friends, but also just kind of see who's in attendance from our region as far as charter leaders and kind of rally together and network in that manner. So thank you for looking into that.
Of course. And does it feel better if it's like around a mealtime, like a breakfast or lunch?
That's always better.
It's always better. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it can be something you're already doing and it's just named that,
Yeah.
would be my suggestion. I wouldn't create anything extra. So
Okay.
just a suggestion.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Okay,
All right.
awesome. Thank you, Laurel. We are speeding through this agenda today. Usually Hoffer takes up a majority of the time, and so he was pretty quick and concise today. So we will just keep moving. So thank you, Mr. Scott, for showing up a little early, dipping out of your meeting. I know you're kind of doing double duty today, so I appreciate that. So if you, Matthew, want to take that on, we will want to hear from special ed updates and the liaisons and all the deadlines coming up and expectations.
Well, good morning, everybody. Let me see if I can share my screen. Am I able to
We
share?
do have two Mr. Scotts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's Mike and Matt. How about that? That's fun.
That's right. See, it says host. I need to be able to share. There we go. All right. So updates from the liaisons. So one thing that we have going, if you happen to have can everybody hear me? Make sure my volume's up. If you happen to have a new director in your charter school, we come out and I do a new director orientation. And so to kind of go through all the things, a comprehensive list of essential items, compliance applications, things in teal, things that they need to know, sign up for director meetings, new director meetings, important dates. We kind of cover things that go over with the state, things like that. So that's one thing, one of the services we provide. So that's always helpful. And I bring that to the new director so they don't even have to come to the service center, and we can do it via Zoom, but I usually find it easier to come out and show them in person. So that's one of the things that we like to do. Ask Ted, there has been some changes. So this is very important. If anything in Ask Ted has to be updated. So if there's changes in staff, charter schools have to email charteraskted@tea.texas.gov. So the subject line should be formatted as shown right here. I don't know if you can follow my mouse, but it has its charter school name, the CDCN, campus name when applicable. And so I've in the PowerPoint, I put the link to the TEA page. I also provided a superintendent new teal instructions link and a teal quick reference approvers link. So if you're approving people in teal for those applications, so if you have new personnel that need to be in teal and get applications, let's say for instance, SPP, and they need to have access to SPP 7, 11, 12, and 13, they would need to be approved for that. And so this is kind of a quick reference approvers link, but anything in ASTED, that's where the TEA sends anything to do with special ed and pretty much anything in the state, but they'll send anything in special ed needs to go through ASTED. So any changes in staff need to be updated, and charter schools have to email this to charter ASTED to the TEA now.
Matt, may I jump
Yes.
in really quick?
Sure.
We have a couple of veteran superintendents on in person with us today, but this is being recorded. And so I know we'll have a couple of new ones that have signed up. And this is, if they were in an ISD, this is different from what they're used to, but it's also very, very, very important that this is updated, because I will tell you from experience going into Ask Ted and looking for certain information, it can be a challenge for the charter side of things. So thank you for lifting that. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Jackie, can I unmute and jump in and throw out that districts and charters need to make sure that their district testing coordinator is updated. That is the only way they're going to get access to Cambium and Tide, is if it's updated in ASTED as well. So just to kind of drive home that requirement that it is so necessary.
All right. They the TEA last, I think 2 weeks ago, or I want to say August 6th maybe, they sent out a 3-page document with important updates, special ed timelines, IEPs, just kind of things to start talking about a back to school update for special educators, administrators, and other professionals. It's a good 3-page. I know they meant to make it a 1-pager, but they can never make it a 1-pager. There's a ton of information on here about timelines, when IEPs are due, what needs to be in IEP. There's also changes to certain terminology that needs to go in IEPs and disability codes. That's all in this 1-pager. I've put a link to the TEA page on the PowerPoint. And so it's just a bundle of information, and it's very good, especially for your administrators that are conducting ARD meetings. It's good to read over, and it's good to know, what they need to, the terminology, the new timelines for testing. There's been some changes on days when testing is requested, when it's actually due now, when the timelines, when school starts, things like that. So all those things are in, I put that link in here. And so it's a very good wealth of knowledge from the TEA about SPED updates. And then clarifications. Clarifications during the clarification window is August 28th through September 12th. So anything in those SPP 11A, 11B, 12, or 13, if any district that got a letter that's saying they need clarification, so that's that window that's open, they'll have time, the opportunity to update and clarify that period to address the findings of noncompliance. So they can, look at the data entry errors, provide documentation of correction or noncompliance based on the 2 criteria. And then on down here, there's a link to a TAA that was put out on July 25th. And so it's a long letter, and it'll give a explanation of what they're looking for and how to work through those clarification period and that clarification window. We also provide help with that. So if you have any questions, you can contact the liaisons and we can come out, or we can work through that on Zoom. Either way, we can come out and help during that clarification window. And then this is a special education leadership site. It's run by all the liaisons in the state. We work on this monthly when we meet during our TEA weeks. I'm going to click on this link, and we're going to hope that it goes to where I need it to go. And it does. So it goes to the YAG, and this is our year at a glance. And this goes by quarter. And so right now we're in August, and it just kind of gives a good to anybody that's working over special ed. And it's also good for superintendents and anybody even in the business office. but especially in special ed. It goes over all of the assessment, operations, and programs, budget and finance. It gives you things that are due. And we've had directors that have made this a poster and put it on their wall. For instance, SPP clarifications open on 8/28. The PEAMS ESY first submission is due 8/29. That required TED training is due 8/31. So it kind of gives those dates. And it also, when everything is due, personnel just kind of gives ideas, review personnel staffing assignments and caseloads. So this is all for August. September, it kind of gives you ideas of what's coming up, what needs to be done in the assessment operations and programs. And it kind of gives you ideas on budget, finance, and purchasing. So if you're working in the SPED consolidated grant application, that's due on 9/3. Another thing that's really helpful that we encourage a lot, it's one thing I go over in the new director orientation, is this live calendar. And you can download this calendar, and all these dates that come up will come up on your calendar in purple. And so down here, when you click on the link to the live calendar, you'll see this calendar come up with these monthly reminders. For instance, available Child Find TSDS. On August 9th, SPP 13 and SPP 7 closed. So those will come up. And it, along with the monthly reminders that you can print off, it gives you instructions at the bottom of how to download those and attach them to your calendar. So you'll see those dates come up, and it'll automatically generate and give you those notifications in your own calendar once you download them. So depending on the application you use. A lot of people have found that very helpful. And that's one of the things that's very good about this leadership site. Along at the top, they have spotlight topics. There's a table of contents, and it just gives a ton of wealth of knowledge and information. It also gives little short slides on training, and it has additional resources. But for instance, if you want to learn about corrective action plans, it gives the TA link. It gives you the 5 steps of the correction action plan. It gives additional resources, a CAP template, how to make a copy. We kind of borrowed that from Region 10 and put it on the website. And it kind of it gives you step-by-step on how to look at working through a CAP. It gives you the directions on the SIN process and the Texas CAP process. So there's just a wealth of knowledge. This is a good website to bookmark on your bookmark bar and have readily available. So if you ever have any questions about anything like discipline behavior, dispute resolution, how to facilitate an IEP, our committee meeting questions, just things like that, there's just a wealth of knowledge. And then, of course, I'm just one of 3. Stephanie Castles and Dr. Knox are the other 2 liaisons that I work with. And so if you ever need anything from us, we're more than happy and always readily available to come help.
Wow, that was a lot of information. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. And I appreciate you kind of jumping on over from your other meeting.
Jackie, can I
Yes.
interject here?
Yes.
Last year we were in special ed hell. Right, Matt?
I would say, yeah, I'd agree.
We had our I don't know what do you call it, the cyclical review piece that we had to do for special education and for dyslexia. And we had a horrible situation that came up where we ended up having to do a corrective action plan that I still believe was a completely unwarranted, but that's neither here nor there. So I mean, we just seemed like we were in the middle of it the whole year long. The service center, Stephanie and Matt and Margot are incredible in their support of us. How we got through it was the only reason we got through it was because of them. And so I would just encourage everybody to take advantage of the expertise that you have in the special education department with these liaisons from the service center, because they are incredible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. You're always good to interject and give us kudos, but also we appreciate your constructive
Well,
criticism
it's
too.
all true. It's,
I
mean,
know,
every
I
word of
know.
it.
They are
So,
awesome. And that's
yeah.
why I try to include them on every time, everything we can. So thank you, Matt.
No
I know
problem.
several of us are going to jump over to your meeting once this one concludes. So appreciate you. We usually have Amanda List here as a charter advocacy, her firm, but she is probably on a plane somewhere going somewhere tropical right now. So, but she has agreed to partner with us for the remaining of those roundtables. So we typically have 3 standards, Joe Hoffer, Amanda List, and Laurel Garcia. And then a typical meeting would have just oodles and oodles of people like Matt from the service center to kind of give you updates, some announcements, maybe even a small PD session. So if you're just joining us for the first time through the recording, know that this is an atypical one. We wanted to get one in before we started kind of back to school. And so thank you for kind of working through that with us in this first one. And that kind of segues to Dr. Sewell, who I didn't introduce when she came on. So our deputy executive is here to chat with us about some introductions and some announcements. So I'm going to let her take that over.
Well, thanks so much, Jackie Fagan. Do you want to make an announcement before I do?
I wasn't sure how this was going to go because it's a little uncomfortable, but I will tell you that I am retiring. And so my last day will be August the 31st. So in a couple of weeks. Still hoping to stay a toe or so into the area and doing some things here, but I'm excited about moving to Lubbock, keeping our Arlington home, and kind of helping out more with the football program. We'll just say that, but more so just going to spend some time in our cabin in Ruidosa and then back here taking care of my parents and my son and all the good things. So I'm so happy. My time here, I don't know if I can express how much I love my charters and charter leaders. So this was not easy. In fact, it was like a year of me going, okay, should I do it? Should I not? So I am sad but happy all at the same time. So there's that. Moving on.
Okay, so with that being said, I told Jackie, my daughter was a Red Raider and she graduated a year ago, and Jackie is a Red Raider, certainly supporting her husband in the football program, and that drive to Lubbock can take a while. And so I can empathize and certainly appreciate her commitment to her family. And just to being there with her husband for all the celebratory bowl games and all the good things that are to come in the future. So but beyond that, I would just like to tell everyone that Jackie's tenure and her expertise and just her serving willing heart for kids and leaders is so evident, and she's going to be missed greatly here at Region 11. And so Jackie, we just wish you well. We wish you all the good things that your next adventures will hold. And we just, always know that you have just the highest accolades that anyone could share with your experiences and your work here at Region 11. So thank you. Absolutely. And as Jackie is departing from us, we have 2 new support field service agents that will be working with charters. I wanted to introduce both of these administrator leaders. First is Carrie Carter. Carrie is with us as a field service agent, and she's got expertise in Lone Star governance, school board trainings, GTO for charters, and many other things. And so accountability, as she mentioned earlier, there's all different things to be aware of. And she's just got her ear to the ground on so many things to support in those areas. Carrie, would you like to say a few words?
I didn't script anything out, but a few of you on here that know me, you know, I never have trouble talking. But I'm super excited to get to work in this role and support our charters in anything that I can support with. I know there's a couple people on here, and then there's a few other ones that Cindy said, "How do you want to divide this up?" And I was like, "I know some people, and I want to stay with my people." So super excited to do that, and also support you all in any way that I can with school board training, GTO training, anything like that as well. So yeah, just reach out, email or call or whatever I can do. I'm here to support.
Thanks, Carrie. And then additionally, we have Cindy Bills. And Cindy comes to us as a newly hired field service agent with a background in CCMR, career technology, pathways in technology, many of the opportunities that are available through our LASSO grants at the state level. She's served in advanced academics, GT, all the AP, TSI, testing and accountability factors there as well. We're really excited to have her join our team. And again, like Carrie said, we'll be looking at, assignments like where Carrie's relationships already exist, and we'll have new relationships to develop. We'll have Cindy on point to support in that area. And so Cindy, share a few words with us before we move on to our next thing. Welcome. We're glad you're here with us as well.
Well, I'm very excited. I didn't have anything written out either, Carrie.
I know. I just want to keep you on your toes.
Well, I'm very excited to be back at Region 11 and to support our charters and to help find solutions for problems, and as well as be a liaison to just help out in any way we can. So I'm very excited to be here.
Well, welcome to both of you, and there'll be more information coming forward. But at this point, I'll turn it back over to Jackie Fagan to finish the agenda and close us out. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sewell. Thank you for your kind words. And yes,
Really.
Cindy and I have been working and have given her all the resources, and we'll continue over the next 2 weeks to finalize all that and make sure that she has all the things, including the roundtables and some of the other topics I'm going to address here. And then, of course, Carrie and I, like I said in the chat, we've trained boards together, charter boards together. We've gone on visits together, and her husband actually works in a charter, so she's very familiar. And Cindy's daughter graduated from a charter, so they are not unfamiliar, and they have been working hard over the last month or so to get acclimated. So thank you, ladies, for letting me pass the torch on in an Olympic year. How about that? Now, I want to just list, I'm going to verbalize some of these deadlines, but when I send a resource list, and for those of you that are new or joining us via recording, I'll send out a table of resources, and that includes anything that I've received from the presentation, from the presenters, but also I will include some extras, and part of the extras this time will be these upcoming deadlines and some training opportunities that I'll hot link into those. And just so let me verbally still tell you some of these. So if you haven't heard, there's a TEA superintendent call at 3 p.m. today. So let me know if you need that link. I'm sure there won't be any talk about any A through F ratings or anything like that. So we'll have that. your Charter First is available now, and if you need to appeal that, that's due by September 9th. Then the final one will, the finalized report will come out in November. I don't know that anyone on here, but let me just say it. If you if you provide transportation, a bus collision report has been changed. It's been updated to August the 30th. In terms of Region 11, our contracts are due. Most of them are in, but if you haven't completed that, please get those locked. And if you need help with that, reach out to me and I can help you with that. The CSP highly qualified grants are due September the 9th, and that's for anyone who's currently with that grant but expanding for a new campus. The admin calendar that we talked about yesterday in the Charter Network. I know this is probably backwards, but it's coming out for the 24-25 school year, and it will be released in the TASA meeting, which is, where's that? September the 10th. And if you haven't ever used this, it's literally my planner. So I use it. It's all written in, but it has all the due dates, contact information. I know Mike Scott has even printed it and used it. Is that correct? Thumbs up, Mike. Yep. And I know Lisa was talking about it yesterday. So that will be coming soon. It is also electronic in the superintendent's corner. You'll be able to access that there.
Hey, Jackie.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think on the TASA superintendent's meeting, I've got that on my calendar as September the 4th, which would be the Wednesday
Okay.
after Labor Day. Is that what you have, Mr. Hopper?
Okay, I probably misread my email because I was doing that as Joe Hoffer was talking. So I was like,
No
what?
worries. No, that's okay. I just want to be
Okay, so
sure. for
September
recording.
4th, I'm gonna change that from my record, September
Yes,
4th,
ma'am.
friends. So be sure that you're in attendance, registered and in attendance, and then you can preview that book. I think printed, they were $10, so I'm sure it's not much more than that. And then the Texas, I got this morning, the Texas District Reporting and Data Submission page. It's not officially out yet, but TEA, I requested it and they sent it to me this morning. So hopefully that will be published so I can include that. It's fleshes out ISD and charter deadlines, data submission deadlines. It's something nice to have. I just slip it in this planner with me. In terms of the Charter School Advisory Board for ESC Region 11, we're gonna kick that off at the end of this month, so in a week. And we are still looking for 1 or 2 members to serve, as we've had a few changes. So look for something from Cindy or Carrie with that. One thing to consider, it's a year commitment. We meet 4 to 5 times a year and it's all virtual. And it's our opportunity to come together to kind of shape these roundtables, identify trends and talk about some of those upcoming PDs that might need to happen, and then just general charter support needs. So this is our time to come together as a group to represent charters. It's different from this roundtable. We make decisions, we talk, and then I take all that back and I seek out our ESC consultants to address some of those trends that we're seeing or the professional development within a roundtable. So we're looking for 1 or 2 more, depending on, I'm still waiting on a few to respond. So would love to have some of the charter leaders there, even a principal. I even like to have a teacher represented, so we have all voices, small and big charters. So something to think about. And then a few trainings. I'll put all these dates in, but we have a paraprofessional handbook online course through the 30th. I've heard that that's a need, so I wanted to highlight that. It's again, it's online. We have a fundamental CTE administration workshop and the instructional leaders meetings. These are kind of ongoing. The school counselor PLC, which is especially good for any new counselors. My sister's a counselor, and I know she's kind of leans into that work. The TASA meetings, TSDS, new PEAMS coordinator training, very important. That one is September 11th. I'll have all these dates and links. New SPED director collaboration. I think Matt talked about that. A new counselor cohort. The fall series. We have a summit coming up, next level leadership for all your campus and central admin or even teacher leaders. That's coming up in October. The ESC Region 11 Superintendent's Fall Conference is scheduled for November, the 1st of November, the 6th and the 7th. And that's going to be held at Lake Granbury. And then way looking ahead, and next May, we have a Safety and Security Conference here at Region 11. And then just a variety of special ed, AI, which is a hot topic right now, general instruction, PD options throughout. And so take advantage of those director meetings for your support staff. I would love, and I think I'll challenge my two friends, I would love to see more engagement from charters in that area. And so know that they're going to be pushing on you guys to not only join us here, but also to get your support staff the support and help that they need ahead of time. So it's one thing, we are always, wherever you are, we're going to meet you there. But it would be awesome to be proactive and have them know some of those things ahead of time. So, and those meetings provide that. And I think that's all I have. So with that, I will sign us off for the last time. I'm going to get out and see my friend Mike before I finish my duties, but thank you, Cindy, for being a part of this, and thank you, everyone, for joining us on the roundtable, either in person or through the recording. And we hope that we'll see more of you now that we've got that roundtable registration straightened out. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, my dear. Appreciate everything you've done.
I
Thank you,
appreciate you.
Jackie.
Got it. Take care. Thanks, Betsy.